Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Time with Dave. My name, ironically, is Dave, and this is my YouTube page, and this is my Facebook page. And I am going to be doing a few of these over the next little while just to talk to some of my friends about the kind of cool things that they're doing. I have a lot of friends that are doing incredible things, and so I'm going to feature some of my friends and my pals and the people who I do life with and church ministry with and community stuff with, and let them tell some of their stories. So that's what I'm going to do. And today with me is my friend, Alisha Eich. Alisha, hello.
Hi.
Welcome to my newly crowned Coffee Time with Dave internet. I don't know what this is show. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great.
Are you enjoying a coffee? Do I see a coffee in your vicinity? Yeah, it's one of
very Canadian looking mug on the 4th of July.
Oh yes, that's right.
My husband won't be happy, but
so the Eichs have a half of the Eichs are American. Cody is from the United States of America. Cody is
wearing stripes today.
Oh, and he stars.
No.
So what do the Eichs do on the 4th of July? What's a very Eichy 4th in Brantford?
Normally we have a party, but we can't. So we had raspberry turnovers this morning with blue sprinkles and American flags before he went to work. That's it today. Unfortunately.
Cody is an incredible. He's an incredible tattoo artist, isn't he? Like yeah. when we were chatting about doing my little internet live, whatever this is, you were saying that Cody has 47,000 Instagram followers on his tattoo page. That's incredible.
He's good, and I am his wife, but I genuinely think it's really good. So you need a tattoo.
So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, if you leave a comment, I'm going to be able to see those comments. And if you have a question or comment, just leave that in there, and we'll bring some of those up there if you have questions or comments for Alisha. All right. So if you are a friend of mine, and you are probably because you're watching this is how you may know Alisha. Like this. Alisha, take a look at that. So this is you holding a burlap plastic child combined with two hairy gentlemen to your right and left. This is for years you've been Mary in the Living Nativity. Like this is like a decade of marrying.
Yeah.
What's that been like? What's that been like doing that in the Living Nativity?
It was great. I took a year off last year, which was like the first time since I got married. But yeah, I loved doing it. It was freaky the first time. I think I was 20 and I didn't know you guys at all except Brian. And he asked me to play Mary, and I had zero acting experience, which you could probably tell. But I could sing, so they dressed me up and put me in a robe, and I remember Nikki training me on how to be expressive with my face. But then the funny part is it's so cold when you do Living Nativity outside that you can't be expressive because your face is frozen. So
it's so good.
I love doing it.
All right, so let's talk about you've got a really neat project coming up, and since I met you when you were a teenager, I remember being in a youth service, a young adult service or something or other, and you were leading this worship service, and my goodness, there was just something about the way that you were able to play and sing, and for those inside the church community, you know the term lead worship, but those who are not, it's this is leading Jesus music with Jesus folks about, and it was so incredible. And sometimes people are able to do it and get people motivated to be able to come along, and sometimes people aren't. And you've always sort of been able to bring people along with you when it comes to music. How does that happen?
I don't know. Honestly, since I was a kid, I watched my mom do it. I grew up around worship and like congregational settings of singing and doing that. So I guess I grew up at a summer camp where we led camp songs, and I saw all of my older brother and my mom doing it, and it's just something that has always.
And you mean that literally, don't you? Like you guys literally grew up in a campground.
Yeah, just outside of Brantford. So our whole summer was, ministering to kids, and that was Christianity, is about, bringing people into what you genuinely believe and trying to inspire people to Christ, really, to a relationship with God. And I think for me, it was pretty natural going into that role at church to do music. That it's not just about feeling good. It was very serious for me. So, and I was lucky enough to be in a church that allowed me to participate at a very young age in music. And, it's just always been a huge part of my life, a huge part of my heart. And all through my teenage years, I've just always, even as a kid, when people would ask me what I wanted to do, I wanted to be a singer. That's all that has been there, and all that probably ever will be. So, yeah.
So I remember it's 2020. So let's see. I got back from Africa in 2000. So something like 2001, 2, 3, you started releasing little bits of music, right? Like you started to try and begin to do recordings. And I remember I'm going back in time because I was the morning show DJ on the early days of what's now Faith FM in Brantford, but at the time was Fresh Wind 99.5, and you had released a version of the Phillips, Craig and Dean song, How Deep the Father's Love for Us. And I remember playing that stuff and at the same time playing your mom, Wanda Mann's music. So I think we had Let It Go. Let It Go was in the playlist for quite some time. But what were the early days of going, I've got something in me and I want to start recording and releasing? What were the early days like?
Well, it kind of started. I went away with Youth with a Mission in New Zealand, and I was there for half a year. I took a break from college, and I felt like I just needed to take a break from everything around me. And I feel like during that time, I just started writing, and I felt very strong, like a very strong conviction that the songs that I was writing were not just for me. And so they were for our culture, they were for myself, but I just felt very called to sharing them. So when I got back, I think it was about a half a year I devoted just going every Monday to my brother's basement studio, and I would record, and I didn't know how to do that. And so it was a very big learning curve. And I made an EP called Always With You. And I just started playing wherever I could. I was still serving in church, doing music, and then I would play in coffee shops or events, whatever it was. And from that point, I just kind of have always loved writing. And even before that, I remember being 13, playing keys at my church, and Brian was there speaking. And probably, honestly, I always go back to that day that he kind of just said, you've got something in you that's for our country, basically. And that was new for me. I remember it.
It was a powerful moment. It really was.
Yeah. And so that was a kickstart to me knowing, and my parents too, just, they've always put in spoken into all of us kids that, God gives you gifts for a reason. It's for the betterment of society. It's for his kingdom. It's for sharing. It's for positivity. It's not just for you, whatever it is that you carry. So there's been little people that have kind of confirmed and spoken that. And so, since then I've, done an EP here and there and a song here and there. And so this is, I'm stepping into the biggest thing that I've ever done, which is a full full-length album, which has never
Yeah.
happened.
So I guess it was it was last winter when you released a few songs, and they were really powerful songs. And I'll show the website here, because I can do that. Here, I'm going to do this. Hang on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Watch this. Alisha Eich. There we go. I've done it. Look at that. There's us. We're in a coffee shop, and that's your website right there. You can see some of the different albums that or different songs and things like that Alisha's done. But this I'm Listening project, this is something that's bigger and takes a little bit more investment, and also comes at a very peculiar time in human history where we are all not able to go and enjoy public singing. Like, so you're working on a record project at a time when we're not allowed to even actually do this outside. So tell me a little bit about the I'm Listening project, and what it is and what it means to you.
Well, I've been writing songs for a few years. Probably more seriously for like 2 years. I've released singles, 2 in the past year, actually 3. But I haven't felt like it was the right time to do a full album yet, up until very recently. And actually it was right before coronavirus hit, which changed everyone's lives. I had started prepping to do a campaign. I felt very sure that I was ready, and if I don't do this now, I might not ever do it. And I just felt very good, and my husband and I felt good about stepping into this. And so I got everything all ready. I had photos, artwork, everything together, and then we all went on lockdown, and I was like, okay, I can't do this yet. Like we weren't making an income for 3 months. So many people, to ask people to buy
because the
album.
The tattoo industry, I mean, obviously there's a lot of human contact, right? So it just reopened, didn't it?
A couple weeks ago. So when so we really took the 3 months off as 3 months off, and we tried to invest time in our family, but I was still writing, still preparing. I'm trying to just decipher when is a good time to step into this. And it was the week that Cody, actually my husband, was okay to go back to work. Both of us felt like, okay, like, I don't know if it was just him stepping into that new phase. It felt like we both needed to step ahead and move forward with this plan, because people still need music, and people still actually more than ever, I feel like people need encouragement. People need, life-giving art forms. And so this is something that I've been sitting on. I mean, it's titled I'm Listening. And that was actually a song I wrote over a year ago, just with that posture of like, we need to not come to people with a stand of us knowing everything, of us ignoring issues, not allowing even other people or God to speak into our lives, because we've got it all together. And I felt like most of the songs that I was writing were the complete opposite of, God, I don't know the answer to this. I don't see people correctly. I don't see myself correctly. Speak to me. And so most of the songs on this album are ones with that kind of reflective, declarative form, where I'm, declaring truth even when I don't feel it, or asking God to speak and inviting conviction. I mean, there's a lot of things going around right now with, you're not doing it this way, you're not doing it right here, or with all of the racial issues happening right now too. We're all trying to posture ourselves with a humble standpoint and go, okay, maybe I do need to look at myself a bit more. Or maybe I do need to just kind of have a look at my world around me. And so, I put that out, and then all this stuff kind of happened. I was like, man, this is even more fitting than I could have planned. So Yeah, so it's a big project. It's kind of scary to step into, especially right now. Just with, I mean, even our own finances are not great. So, yeah, asking people to, that have appreciated my music or have been supportive in the past to, pre-purchase an album or something like that is a way to just try to get a little bit of a head start on the production side of things and the cost. But also to encourage people also to pay for music. That's an art that's lost these days. So there's a lot of things that I felt confident to step into, but hasn't come, at the easiest time. So.
Well, I'll tell you, I've over the last number of months been working with the guy, and if you've been watching my Facebook page, you've seen me talking about the big spend, about the idea of spending locally, and I actually plan on July 25th to be able to spend in the arts community, because I watched something recently, and it was a CTV story about things that are essential services and things that are not. And the arts was like at the very bottom of the essential service list. But I'm like, my goodness, the things that are getting us through times like this, if we just abandon the arts, that is just horrifically short-sighted and ridiculous. And I'll tell you, Alisha, this is probably not a great thing to be able to do. I got to figure out how to do it. But if you look back hang on, I better do this here. We'll do it like this. So if you look back this way, I got a record player for Christmas last year, and I got like an Elvis record back there. And so the idea of the fact that you can get a vinyl Alisha Eich album out of supporting you. I mean, that may have been, I like you and everything, but the fact that I could get a vinyl album out of it in supporting this project up front, that moved me. Like,
good, because it moves me. I love records, and I collect records, and there was no question that if I'm going to do an album, it has to be on vinyl. So that's just
right.
There was no discussion on that.
There's just something about it. It's got that feel to it, right? Yeah. It's got some guts to it.
Last year, and the first record I played was Tapestry, Carole King, and which is one of my favorite albums of all time. And I almost cried because it was a sound that I had forgotten. It was a sound like a VCR, like a VHS.
Yeah.
Sound. It's just different. And I hadn't experienced that in years. And so, man, so
it's something else, right? All right. I'll show you what I got for Christmas, because I got that for Christmas too. And so my wife, Chrissy, she got me the record player, and she told my sister-in-law, go get him like a Sunrise Records gift card. And I got this Van Morrison and Joey DeFrancesco. So Van Morrison, one of my favorites, and Joey DeFrancesco is like, he's the Hammond B3 organ jazz man. He actually played at the Brantford Jazz Fest a number of years ago. Oh my goodness. Like, listening to that on vinyl, it's absolutely the best, right?
Yeah. Well, and those,
okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's something about listening to records that were recorded for vinyl. So there's an aspect of that that's like, oh, it just feels right. That's how it just feels right. So Brian Beatty's watching. He said, "Oh, see, kids." I don't know what that means. I think that may be a record. I think that might be a vinyl comment. There's no doubt that Brian has got some records. His mom Beulah. Alisha, I don't know whether you've ever met Beulah, Brian's mom, but there's no doubt that she's got some records kicking around in the house there. So, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about another neat feature of those who support you, and I have that banner up there supporting your record and your
your production there, this is the way to be able to go. There's a GoFundMe, crowdfunding project that my wife and I have contributed to, and we're big supporters of. I really want to see this happen. You, about 10 years ago, went to the far Ontario North and became very moved by a project and mission in the far Ontario North. Tell me a little bit about that and how it relates to this project.
Yeah, I had just come back from YWAM. I was away for half a year in New Zealand and Australia. And when I was there, I was able to work with mostly the Maori community. And then when I was in Australia, I was on a tiny island called Palm Island. And it was primarily, I just got a bunch of Beatles records. Nice, Brian.
Yeah, there was no doubt. There was no doubt about that. Yeah.
When I was there, so on Palm Island was working with a lot of the Indigenous people on that island. That historically that was an island where, the people that they didn't want on the mainland, they put on this island, and it's just heart-wrenching history that's very recent there. And so I felt like God started kind of stirring my heart while I was there. And then when I got home, I was teaching, I was working, and then the summer hit. And because I was teaching, I didn't have a job. And I ended up connecting with Karen Ward, who was running a day camp program up very, very far north. I believe it's 500 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. So very, very far.
That's pretty north. That's pretty north. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's where the road stops. And I don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure you can't drive farther. Anyway, there's a reserve up there that she was bringing a team of about 10 of us to be up there. I think we were there for 3 weeks, just working with the kids. And so, I just signed up all gung-ho. Yeah, I'll do that. Sounds great. And we went to Muskoka Woods Bible Camp for a weekend of training. And when we were there, Karen just spent a lot of time just educating us on the actual history of the Indigenous people of Canada and what we were to expect when we went up to this reserve. And I took it all in. I tried my best to prepare my heart or to, feel what she was telling me. But when we got there, nothing really could prepare me for what I experienced and what I encountered, which was literally felt like I was in a third world country. And just we were called there to just love on these kids. There was no big cheer at the end of it. Oh, thank you for coming. Or we didn't get to build a school and feel great about it. We just went and hung out with kids and fed them and just hung out and tried to just be friends and not come at it with this, we've got all the answers. Let's fix the problems. It was, let's just go and be in the community and love people. And that was, it was shocking at first because I was unaware and I felt very ashamed that I was so unaware of the situation and the poverty level of some of these places in Canada, and how we literally don't learn about it growing up. We actually, for the most part, I think we prefer not to know about things because when it's your own country, you feel a certain level of conviction that doesn't go away. So when I was there, I admire Karen. She's been working at that specific reserve, which was Mishki-Gogamang. She's been up there. I think she goes up monthly. She lives here in Burlington area, and she runs trauma training for people that have experienced traumatic, any sort of trauma, which would be almost everyone on that reserve. She goes up and works with the girls, teenage girls to young adults, it's called Brave Girls, and just tries to pour into their lives. She's housed kids in her home to help them get through high school. She's just recently set up a ministry about a year ago that our lives just kind of came back together randomly, and it was so fitting. And I was thinking about doing an album, and she had just launched her own ministry. So it just,
Wow.
I felt pretty much like right away, Karen, can I partner with you? I may not make a lot of money, but if I do, can I partner with you and give you 10%? Because, again, music is for your emotions, it's for your soul, but it's also powerful. And if I can use it in a way to actually bring life, not just emotionally, but practically to people that desperately need it, that's an area of my heart that I couldn't say no to. And it's a huge issue in Canada that we're just not aware of to the level that we should be. Yeah. And I'm so excited with this campaign to be able to give her 10%. I'm hoping it'll be more than $100, but we'll right now it'll be, what is it? I'm at 15%. So yeah.
But it's not nothing. That's not nothing, right? Okay, nothing. So I don't know how to make this picture the entire screen, so it's going to cover us for a second. But this is you, like a decade ago.
Yeah.
this is 10 years ago, Alisha.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And those kids would be adults now, probably, or at least 18, or.
And you look exactly the same. No. So here's you and your family. I'll go to this side, you go to that side. We can all right, there you go. There's you and Cody. Cody and the kids. All right, so we've got a few comments. First of all, my friend Phil says that you are the best.
Aww.
And not only that, but he follows up by saying, do you accept e-transfer? Yes. So I bet she does, Phil. So really what I encourage people to do is to go and see AlishaEich.com, and I'm going to once again share the website, share what it looks like, because that's where you can actually find more of the information and more of the information and links, right, Alisha? So if you go there, you can click to support the page. Yeah. That's where I went.
There's in the menu there's a title called I'm Listening, or you can just click that banner and it'll take you to my IndieGoGo page, which I believe just does credit cards. So if you cannot give with credit card, again, just contact me. You can send me a message, and I do accept e-transfers if you would prefer to do it that way. But yeah, that should have all the info and links to send you to where you need to go. So.
Very, very cool. Alisha, you are a wonderful, wonderful person. I have described you as a young lady recently, and I think I'm still going to continue because it's the right way to describe. But you're like a real grown-up now, and a mother of two, and the fact that you're launching into this during this time, to me, is inspiring, because it's somebody following the things that's inside their heart, that God puts inside somebody's heart. Alisha, one more thing. We've got like a couple minutes. In fact, we have as many minutes as you want, because this is the internet and there's no deadlines whatsoever. But if there's somebody that is a musician who's watching this, right? Because there are lots of people, including my own family. So my son leads worship at Freedom House during different times and leads with you, and he's a guy that loves music. He always has, and it's sometimes tough to be able to reconcile music professionally and music out of the thing that is the expression of worship in somebody's heart. What is your advice to somebody who's young that has music in their heart and wants to be able to get it out?
The biggest advice is, if you have music in your heart, write it down. And for me, it's always been about me and God, because my music specifically most of the time is for God. And I sing it and I enjoy it for myself. And it has to be that first. And but if you have something in your gut that is not just for you, it takes, write it down, record it, even if it's just on your, GarageBand on your computer, and share it. People need that. People need just as much as a beautiful photo. They need a beautiful song that it shows a part of the human soul that is so beautiful, and it's meant to be shared, and it's meant to be encouraging for people. And yeah, for me, music is a language that touches anybody, and as much as we say it's non-essential, it's essential. My husband's an artist visually, and I'm an artist with music, and both of us, it's so essential. It is a part of me and a part of him that is meant to be shared. And so, yeah, we have the technology now to do that. I'm not saying everyone needs to do that professionally or whatever, but people share quotes all the time. Why not share a song? People share beautiful pictures all the time.
And the technology is available for people who are artistic to be able to share what their craft is. It doesn't always translate exactly into money or finance or full-time work, but there has never been a time, in my opinion, and just in my craft, in broadcast and comedy and church and XYZ, like there's never been a time where you can share the things that are inside of you in a creative way more effectively than now with a bigger audience. And so Brian also wrote in the comments, 2 of my favorite people using their God-given gifts to make Jesus famous. Nothing better than that. Hard to finish on any better note than that. Alisha, thanks so much for joining me today on my whatever it is I'm doing, Coffee with Dave. So if you stay on the video, I'm gonna run a little video thing. We're going to say goodbye, and I'll say goodbye after I'm done running the video thing. Goodbye, everybody on the internet. Go to AlishaEich.com and support this project. She is wonderful. Alisha, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.